You Are Listening Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. The greatest obstacle standing between you and success isn't found in the outside world. It isn't cruel circumstances, unfortunate upbringing, or ruthless competitors. This barrier exists within your own mind, and its identity is ego. We aren't discussing Freud's psychological framework here, the clinical definition of ego. Instead, we're examining ego as commonly understood: excessive self-importance, selfish desires, and pure narcissism. Holiday identifies that human existence operates through three continuous phases: aspiration, achievement, and setback. We constantly cycle between these states, always transitioning from one to another. Picture yourself thriving professionally. What follows? Either obstacles emerge leading to setbacks, or continued prosperity drives you toward greater aspirations. Perhaps you're struggling in a personal relationship. What's next? Either continued difficulties push you to seek new connections, or you develop ambitions to repair existing bonds. This cyclical pattern demonstrates our perpetual movement through aspiration, achievement, setback. Regardless of your current phase, ego remains your adversary. Some believe ego provides necessary drive for initiation or maintaining advantage. However, ego differs fundamentally from ambition and confidence. Ego will sabotage your aspirations, destroy relationships, devastate everything you've constructed, and prevent recovery when attempting to rebuild. Ego manifests differently across life stages, yet consistently acts as your opponent. This exploration aims to help you identify ego's various forms, enabling resistance and prevention of destructive patterns. By completion, you'll possess tools to substitute ego with its antithesis, humility. Using Holiday's framework, you'll develop skills to remain modest in aspirations, graceful during achievement, and resilient through setbacks. During aspiration phases, when beginning new endeavors, ego distorts your capabilities. Whether pursuing skills, career paths, or personal growth, ego whispers that talent and intelligence eliminate the need for effort. It suggests practice is unnecessary, that brilliance alone suffices. Yet Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, reminds us, learning becomes impossible when we believe we already possess knowledge. While talent contributes to success, humility and dedication, the commitment to practice and invest time, more reliably transform aspiration into accomplishment. Overestimating abilities prevents improvement. Assuming you possess all answers blocks learning. Therefore, during this phase, the most crucial skill becomes accurately evaluating your own capabilities. Consider William Tecumseh Sherman's military career as illustration. Sherman achieved tremendous recognition as arguably America's greatest general. Yet his ascent was neither rapid nor anticipated. As a junior officer, Sherman traveled extensively across America, accumulating knowledge at each assignment. When Civil War erupted, he served with distinction. Later, facing leadership shortages, President Lincoln offered Sherman promotion. Here Sherman's precise self-evaluation emerged. He accepted advancement but declined supreme command. Sherman possessed clear understanding of his strengths. Where others would have seized greater power, Sherman refused, recognizing his optimal effectiveness in his current position. When Sherman eventually advanced, leading his own strategic initiatives, success relied entirely on his expertise, accumulated experience, and learned lessons, not baseless self-assurance. His strategy succeeded brilliantly. By war's end, he ranked among America's most celebrated figures. This illustrates the distinction between confidence and ego. Confidence stems from diligent work, accurate self-assessment, and genuine accomplishments. Ego lacks foundation. In Holiday's words, ego is stolen. Confidence is earned. Throughout his career, Sherman rejected ego, earning both confidence and success. Now assess yourself honestly. Be ruthless in objectivity. This process may prove uncomfortable, even painful. The goal isn't self-harm, it's cultivating humility. With an honest, unexaggerated understanding of your true abilities, success becomes more likely because you'll commit to necessary hard work. During aspiration phases, unglamorous labor forms the foundation. Greatness emerges from small actions. Grand visions are acceptable writing books, mastering challenging skills. But books emerge word by word, sentence by sentence. Skills develop through hours of practice, mistake after mistake. Effort is required. Committing to work counters ego while building confidence. It's also the most reliable path to the next phase, achievement. Holiday provides 8 strategies for combating ego during aspiration. More than half emphasize action over image, doing rather than being, committing to work. Let's examine 3 approaches. First, minimize talking. Speech poses dangers. Talking consumes the same resources work requires, time and mental energy. More challenging tasks increase the temptation to discuss them. Yet after extensive talking, you're no closer to completion, and your resources are depleted. Discussing tasks also creates false progress. Hours spent considering, explaining, and debating can convince you the work is finished. Beware excessive discussion. Ancient Greek poet Hesiod observed, "A man's best treasure is a thrifty tongue." Next strategy, work consistently and embrace the process. Work doesn't conclude with achievement. You're not a writer because you completed 1 novel. You're a writer because you write daily. You're not a runner because you finished 1 marathon. You're a runner because you run multiple times weekly, every week. Ego treats accomplishment as endpoints. Single success defines permanent status. But success is a process, the process of consistent work. Learn to enjoy that process. Appreciate the work itself, not the recognition or admiration it might generate. To summarize, speak less, work more. Talking drains energy, consumes time, and produces nothing. Success isn't past work, it's present work. Continue working and find joy in the work itself, not its rewards. The work is the reward. The third strategy is maintaining student mentality. It transitions perfectly to post-aspiration stages, the achievement phase. Let's explore what being a student means. Ego overflows with self-regard. It insists you're superior, smarter, already expert. During aspiration, counter ego by remembering there's always more to learn. Consider Kirk Hammett's example. In 1983, at 20, his life transformed. Metallica invited him as lead guitarist. Hammett was already extraordinary. Still, despite joining one of history's most famous rock bands, he knew learning continued, work remained. So Hammett studied under Joe Satriani, a virtuosic instructor. Satriani demanded excellence from students. Many, controlled by ego, quit studying, refusing to practice as instructed. Not Hammett. He studied and practiced. He worked. 20 years later, in 2003, Rolling Stone ranked him the 11th greatest guitarist ever. If you've gained recognition, earned impressive titles, staying humble becomes increasingly difficult. Resisting ego's self-satisfied whispers grows harder. Hammett was already professional when joining Metallica. But he didn't let accomplishments obstruct development. Simply put, he didn't let pride prevent improvement. Imagine if history's greatest inventors had rested after early achievements. What if Steve Jobs had stopped after creating the Apple II computer? Exactly, we'd likely live without iPhones or iPads. Resting on laurels results from pride. Pride and ego aren't identical, but they're closely connected. Pride helps justify ego, making single successes feel like proof of specialness. We're too busy self-congratulating to see improvement opportunities or recognize potential for greater achievements. An effective counter is maintaining student mentality. During aspiration, you may have studied under mentors. Upon reaching achievement, even if no teacher surpasses your knowledge or skill, preserve that student mindset. Be a student of your craft. There truly is always more to learn. Remembering this keeps both pride and ego controlled, allowing continued excellence while others fall away. What matters to you personally? Not to society, parents, or others you feel you should impress, but to you specifically. This is crucial because without clarity, ego leads you astray. You might chase goals or pursue positions that, beyond status they provide, mean little personally, a recipe for disaster. Consider former President Ulysses S. Grant's story. Grant fought alongside William Tecumseh Sherman in the Civil War and fought admirably, achieving general rank. In military success, he and Sherman stood equal. They were among America's most famous people, honored as heroes. Here differences emerge. Post-war, Grant ran for president and won. But while Grant was popular in military circles, he lacked political experience. No matter. He wanted the nation's highest political office. He believed he was suited for the role. Perhaps this seems reasonable. Grant was simply ambitious. But there's an important distinction here. Ambition, unlike ego, builds on solid foundations of real achievements. Sherman exemplifies this. He was ambitious, desired success, and earned it, building strong experiential foundations within each rank before advancing. He never pursued positions he wasn't confident he could handle well. Back to Grant. He won the 1868 presidential election. His victory, however, provided little benefit to the country. His administration was ineffective and corrupt. Grant, genuinely kind and honest, was unsuited for Washington's wheeling and dealing. It surprised him. After 2 stressful, difficult terms, he left office widely disliked, seemingly confused by his poor performance. Later, Grant was bankrupted in a Ponzi scheme, again led astray by desire for easy money this time, that led only to ruin. Unlike Sherman, who never wanted the presidency, preferring continued hard work in his expertise area, Grant couldn't determine what mattered to him. Sherman knew success in one field couldn't necessarily transfer to another, and accepted this. Grant did what many of us do, achieved some success and immediately wanted more, not considering whether the more he desired held personal importance. He's not alone. We all do this constantly. We get caught up in the race. We forget that we determine where the finish line sits. This embodies ego, the need to have more power, money, exciting experiences, without considering whether power, money, or experiences bring us closer to what truly matters. So what's important to you? Maybe more family time. Or perhaps you genuinely want more money. Both are valid. What's important is knowing. Pursuing any goal requires trade-offs, and ego allows no trade-offs. The key to achieving your desires is knowing what you desire. Once clear, you can ignore everything that might interfere. Do you struggle trusting teammates or colleagues? Ever feel unable to delegate tasks because others won't perform as well as you? These are revealing signs that ego probably needs restraint. Try placing trust in others' work. You and your team will benefit. As you advance professionally into managerial roles, you'll likely confront ego. Perhaps you're accustomed to receiving recognition for your work. But now, in your new position, you receive little credit. You oversee others' work, and they receive recognition. Fight the urge to do work you should delegate. That internal voice claiming only you know correct methods. That's ego. Resist it. Delegate those responsibilities. And appreciate delegation's benefits. You may discover others are equally capable of handling everything previously on your plate, suddenly giving you time for new pursuits. Trust others. Respect their work. And utilize your newfound time. Still unconvinced that delegation benefits you? Remember that refusing to delegate can carry hefty costs, so substantial they can destroy entire businesses. Consider car manufacturer John DeLorean's story. Believing he understood car manufacturing better than his General Motors superiors, DeLorean left GM to start his own company. The problem was, this belief lacked foundation. He didn't possess the expertise or experience. He lacked managerial skills, all of which soon became painfully obvious. In his new company, he discarded the stable top-down responsibility structures that made GM thrive. Instead, DeLorean and his ego demanded input on every single decision, a dictatorial management style that was unsustainable, to say the least. The story ends predictably. DeLorean's venture failed, ending in bankruptcy. If your brilliant ideas get rejected, or you don't land that job, feeling frustrated is natural. After all, our egos tell us we deserve rewards, but the world doesn't always align with our plans. Sometimes we don't get promotions or close certain deals, despite our best efforts. How do we confront this? Rather than feeling disappointed, we can start by acknowledging our work and recognizing that we can't always control outcomes or others' opinions of us. Unexpected results should be welcomed as opportunities for honest performance reflection. Conversely, we should remember that lucky breaks differ from success earned through hard work. So again, we must be honest about our performance. Consider the New England Patriots football team example. They selected Tom Brady in the 6th round of an entry draft, and he became one of NFL history's greatest quarterbacks, leading the Patriots to 4 Super Bowl titles. However, instead of congratulating themselves for finding such talent in unexpected circumstances, the Patriots determined to improve their scouting program so they could identify talent like Brady again. They didn't celebrate their lucky break. They returned to the drawing board. Next time something doesn't proceed as expected, and even when something goes well through pure luck, take time to understand why. Improve your best efforts, and you'll enhance your future chances. This message is simple. Avoid ego, avoid it now, avoid it in the future, avoid it always. Aspiration leads to success, and also potentially to obstacles. Success brings new obstacles, though it should also generate new ambitions. And obstacles are paths to new aspirations and successes. The cycle never ends. If you fail, use that failure as an opportunity to learn, improve, and move forward stronger and more prepared. Ego is the only thing stopping you. All historical giants faced obstacles and difficulties. They all made mistakes, but they turned those obstacles to their advantage or learned from them, even if the only lesson was that no one is mistake-proof and that the world doesn't always bend to one's will. If they hadn't learned, if they hadn't possessed the self-awareness and humility to take lessons to heart, they would never have improved or gone on to achieve great things. The only thing stopping you from following a similar path, from thriving regardless of which phase you find yourself in, aspire, success, or failure, is ego. You can aspire without ego. You can succeed without ego. You can fail with strength, but never with ego. Ego is the enemy. Found these insights valuable? Hit like and subscribe for book summaries that could transform your thinking. The purchase link for Ego is the Enemy is waiting in the description, and we're curious, which of these concepts resonated most with you? Drop a comment below